All right. Hello, this is Dan Chapman with the Closing Time Podcast, your mortgage advisor. And today I've got my guest, Jen Nelson with Realty Executives, the top producer out of Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's always good to chat with you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you on this beautiful day in Arizona. So let's dive right into it. Jen, let's talk about you and how long you've been in real estate. I'd like to find that out and then kind of elaborate on that with what you enjoy most about being in the real estate business.
Sure. So, my parents would tell you I've been in real estate since I was 12. I think when I was 12, I came up with like new floor plans all the time and told them they should buy these investment properties. I was a weird kid. So I constantly was saying, we need to add square footage. Let's build out the attic, let's redo the kitchen. Long before HGTV, I've always liked real estate. In college, same thing, my poor parents. I tried to get them to buy investment houses because I went to Baylor and I saw what all the roommates were paying and then the prices of homes. I didn't understand loans yet. I was young. But they kind of kicked themselves now because those would have been great investment properties.
That's awesome.
But really, yeah. Bought my first house at 21.
Wow, that's young.
Yeah, it was. I mean, in retrospect, yeah, but it was early 2000s, and if you had a heartbeat, they gave you a mortgage. So,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, right. So we bought our first house 21. My husband and I got married, met the right guy, got married young. Bought our second house when I was 22 for a flip in Seattle, and we had no idea what we were doing. There were no like TV shows or podcasts. It wasn't a thing yet. Facebook was still proprietary in only colleges, so social media wasn't a thing because I'm really old.
Yeah.
So we kind of bumbled through it and just cleared enough. We kind of cleared everything and made like $2 on our first flip.
But you didn't lose money. You didn't lose money.
Right. We didn't factor in like closing costs and all that stuff. We bought in a really lovely pocket outside of Highland Park in Seattle. So, peekaboo ocean views, but we didn't know what we were doing. We were young.
Oh, yeah.
And
how many properties do you guys currently own?
We only have a couple. Over the years, we've had a couple dozen. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been a variety. It's been a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I've been in the market from investing to commercial to mixed use and residential, all in about 21 years.
Wow. Okay. And how many people do you have on your team there in Phoenix that work with you?
At the moment, we have 5. I'm interviewing 2, but I like it small. Our intention is boutique. We want excellence in service. And really, we just love the culture of the team. We have so much fun together.
You guys are awesome. I can attest to that. Jen was my realtor on my purchase here in Phoenix area that we bought a house here about 1.5 years ago, and just does an amazing job, really cares about her clients and works incredibly hard. So I appreciate that.
Well, and I got to work with you and your team, which was amazing. You guys are, of course, fantastic. I love Fairway, and it was seamless. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So next question, what advice do you have for somebody that's starting out in real estate that's, because it's tough. It's a tough business to get into, lending or real estate. 80% of the people that get into it don't really do much business.
Very true, especially in Arizona. So we kind of joke that, even a turkey can fly in a hurricane when it's crazy.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, so when it's crazy, everybody gets work, everybody has business. The last 2 years in Arizona have been crazy, and everybody's had work. But that's not a normal cycle. So advice for someone who's new, I would say today there's a much more opportunity than there's been the last couple of years. But it's not glamorous. It's not, it's not selling sunset. It's walking your neighbor's dogs and taking care of your clients and, doing their, cleaning up their pools. It's the hustle and grind, and it's consistency. I think maybe that's the top 2 things I learned when I was newer. Master your morning, which might sound trite, but it's huge.
Yeah.
Our mindset is huge. How you show up for people, how you present yourself makes a big difference, and your vibe does attract your tribe. So if you show up and you're grumpy and you're like, oh my gosh, I overslept, and you're frantic.
Yeah.
That's the last thing the client needs.
Right.
Right.
I agree. I mean, everybody has a tough day, right? But you can't focus on that. You got to focus on the positive and be proactive. And like you said, the mornings are key. I think realtors, most of the realtors that I work with, and I know they're full on 6 days a week, some 7, I know some like to take a day off, which I think is really important, to be with your family and kind of refocus your mind.
Yeah.
As a loan officer, we're pretty much, for the most part, Monday through Friday, but Saturdays we do some work here and there, but I like to take Sundays off myself, kind of refocus and relax.
I'm working on that. I'm working on that because in real estate, we, maybe that's the other thing I would say, have healthy expectations because we work a lot on weekends. We
Absolutely.
work when clients are around. So, yeah, you've got to master your mornings. If you have ever read The Miracle Morning, I love that.
Oh yeah.
Good. Get quiet, do your workouts, read. For me, that's the Bible. You want to really get your headspace right so you can show up in joy and wisdom and be the person they need you to be, to really advise well. So that's big. And then the hustle's not glamorous. Just, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep your expectations really realistic. You have to constantly work and you have to constantly work that pipeline. And once you do, it's a snowball effect,
Yep.
You all of a sudden are working with 4 generations and all their best friends. And it's such a huge blessing, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of diligence and a lot of asking questions. We had a team meeting yesterday and we were all talking about how much we love it when people say, I don't know. So if you're new in real estate, please remember that phrase. It's okay to
Yes,
say,
absolutely. You have to say you don't know. Like my son's a loan officer now, and somebody asks you something you don't know, you tell them, I don't know, but I'll get you the answer.
Exactly. And there's more, we are entrusted with so much, both in loan officers and in real estate agents, that if we can be trustworthy when we admit, hey, I don't know. Great question. Let me figure it out for you.
Absolutely.
That builds trust and it's honest. And that's one of our fiduciary responsibilities. So
absolutely. Honesty and knowledge and trust. Those are all key components of both our jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why we love what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the Phoenix market. We've seen a wild last couple of years in Phoenix. I know I was thankful I bought in early 2021 because prices still went crazy. You guys gave me this chart that at the time it said certain areas was insanity.
Yeah.
Certain areas were red hot, certain areas were warm, and some areas were getting there or something like that. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to buy in the insanity market, but maybe I'll do the hot market or something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
So, what is it like this year so far? We're obviously very early in the 2023, just kind of starting out. And what is it like right now? And then where do you expect it to go throughout the year?
So it's been interesting. We've had these micro cycles in our market. So we had a 5-week buyer's market in most of the Valley, shortest ever on record. So our metrics are showing that we're actually rebounding quite a bit. We're up, I think, 12% now month over month. So December tends to be actually pretty busy for us because we are a snowbird state. We are, we have a lot of retirees and we have beautiful weather.
Yeah.
Our winter season is actually quite busy. We're hosting the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see who's going to make it.
It's going to be great. We have the PGA Tour. Our January through March season is always very busy for us in the real estate market. That being said, as we talked about, there's a ton of agents and the burnout rate is 87% within 5 years. And that's across the country. Now in Arizona, there's been 90,000 agents. The average agent did 3 to 4 transactions a year. What we've seen in market cycles is a lot of those agents leave the market. So it actually creates opportunity for other agents. In my opinion, this is the best buyer's market we've seen in probably 4 or 5 years. I'm bullish on our market. We have over 200 people a day moving here. We have great industry. TSMC just committed about $40 billion with a B to Valley.
Billion. Wow. This is stuff the media won't tell you, right? They like to paint the negative picture.
Oh, right. Because clickbait, right? Yeah. Headlines do more to terrify than clarify. Yeah. No, we have a really broad and diverse economic underpinning in the Valley. So a lot of the median domestic migration incomes of people moving into the state for jobs are 6 figures, so they're getting a healthy salary and then they're getting really great jobs. So Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Target have all really expanded their presence. Microsoft, the TSMC, we joke our sixth C like Charlie,
Yep.
of the valley is microchips. So we're known for our climate, citrus, cotton, and copper. And I'm missing one. I'll think of it. The kids in school here
Calcium.
learned
No, I'm
the
just
five
kidding.
C's. Yeah. And now it's microchips.
Yeah.
So we just have a heavy investment in a lot of different economic underpinnings, really, that offer a broad base of jobs and good paying jobs.
Yeah.
And then we're very affordable. So I don't think those metrics change.
Yeah, Phoenix is still very affordable, which is great for a lot of people. And people that move here, like from California or Seattle, you know, those places are more expensive, obviously. So they're coming here. And like, you know, I did a loan for an Amazon employee here recently, another one for a Microsoft employee. They're like, get me out of Seattle. It rains too much. You know, so I mean, Seattle's a great city, but you got to be able to handle the weather. And if you got to live there all year round, there's about 3-4 months that are a little tough. Just like, you know, in the summer here, it can be a little hot. It can be.
We get a little warm. Yeah.
No place is perfect, but you know.
True. But we don't have natural disasters, and we're 6 hours to the beach. We're 2 hours to the snow. We're the 5th largest metro in the whole United States, but we're the only one in the top 10 with any kind of a high affordability index, meaning you make a healthy amount compared to what you pay for a house. So it's typically below 30% of your take-home income.
That's key. Below your 30% of your take-home income, the affordability index. You know, in Seattle and the Bay Area, San Francisco and LA and San Diego, it's not quite that. So,
no, 50, 60%. Yeah. No, I think the median income here is about 6 figures. So we'll say $100,000, and the median price point's $539, I believe. I can double check today. But really, if you look at those prices, you know, you have a great quality of life, and you have a very affordable house, especially with things like buy downs, you know, a lot of our clients.
Buy downs and interest rates and on that. And
Can you talk about that a little bit? That's been huge.
Yeah, the 2-1 buy down is a popular loan program. We just did one with your team where the clients you know, for instance, right now, if you're locking on a loan like that, your permanent rate is 6% roughly, and you can get 4% for the first year, 5% for the second year. So those are definitely great programs. Rates are, you know, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but rates are getting favorable. So that's great. Right. What about 2023, the housing market in Phoenix? You know, what would you say appreciation wise from now to where we're at now to maybe the end of the year? Where do you think that'll land? I know it varies from Scottsdale to Tempe, you know, North Central, all these neighborhoods, but on an average, Maricopa County per se. Not just that, but what do you think about, like right now, I tell people early 2023 that it's buyers can make offers and get discounts, you know, they can get seller credits. It may not be that way in 3 or 4 months because rates are going to be lower, in my opinion, and there'll be more buyers because, you know, springtime is a very popular time to buy. Yeah, it is. And I agree on all accounts. We are seeing an uptick in buyers who didn't want to do the 2020 through 2022 thing are back. Sellers who have extra properties or boomers who are slow to downsize or putting their houses on the market. I think it's, you know, appreciation wise, we were high the last several years, you know, 17.6 to 20%. We're not going to continue at that pace, but already we're at about 10% is a projection. And I think that would be more normalized-ish. Yeah, I mean, 10% is great. I was thinking, you know, 6 to 7, but I don't even know the Phoenix market as well as you, so I leave that to you. Well, and I obviously no crystal ball, so these are just right. We're talking about educated guesses based on there you go. Our opinions and what we know. So it depends on the pocket of town too. So we have, you know, secondary markets that have seen incredible growth with Facebook, Amazon, Apple, all the things. So those are seeing some healthy appreciation and quicker than stuff inside the city. But then in the city has always done well and has very low turnover, even though we might not see the double-digit, you know, appreciation. So huge metro, 5 million people, a huge amount of housing units. Still a supply issue. Big time supply issue. A good point. Yeah. We're lacking supply. I don't know what the Phoenix market has, but a lot of markets and where I do a lot of business, like Seattle, they're like under 2 months supply. A healthy normalized market for us is 35,000 units. We're at about 17,000 today. So that's half of our normal. Okay. So you factor in how many people are moving into state plus how many are creating households, you know, millennials,
in postgraduate or having families.
That's
So,
another point. Let's talk about millennials. The millennials out there, and those of you that watch this podcast, that's over 50% of the home buyer pool right now is millennials. And so there's a lot of millennials coming in the market that are in their late 20s, early 30s. Some are first-time home buyers, most of them, some are move-up buyers, but that's a big factor in what's going on right now. There's an enormous amount. I don't know the number. It's nationwide, but it's a lot.
It is. Well, and you couple with millennials, which are the largest demographic in our entire country, right? Biggest generation, with the second biggest, which is our boomers. For me, it's my parents. They're not downsizing as quickly. So in previous generations, the boomers downsized as the next generation or second generation bought their houses. Well, that's not happening, especially in Arizona, because we're a retirement state.
Yeah.
So, boomers aren't selling big houses. Millennials are now looking for either upsize or new household formation. So there's that kind of furthers that supply crunch.
Yeah, that creates that big supply crunch. Absolutely.
It does. And building permits are down significantly. I don't remember the metrics, but let's say it's like, don't quote me, 20% or something this month.
Yeah. I saw that. It is around that number.
Yeah. So we have a supply and demand issue. So I'm really still quite bullish, but I love that it's balanced. Sellers and buyers are much more moderated. Last year there would be 30 of us standing in a driveway. And you've got 10 minutes to go and see a house. If you like cars, get your offer in.
I think everybody's glad that's over.
Awful.
Every realtor I talked to, loan officer, I mean, for sure, a buyer, right? Maybe not a seller, but I mean, the sellers had to go buy, right? If they're selling, they got to go somewhere. So maybe they're happy it's over too. I don't know.
Well, in our market, a lot of our sellers were selling extra houses. But then it was like, oh my gosh, they had to say no to, I had one listing with 27 offers, and they had to say no to 26 people. And that was hard even for a seller to go, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, 26. Yeah,
it was nuts. So it's not that, which is good. It's what we call a balanced market. Each party has some negotiation power. And a lot of the metrics across the valley, so Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, Chandler, they actually are sliding into a seller's market rather again. Fountain Hills is, I think, our only technical.
So what would you say, like in the Phoenix area, are the top 3 areas right now that you're seeing as far as activity?
Well, Scottsdale's always big. Peoria, with all of the development and kind of tech focused stuff going on in the Northwest Valley, Peoria is really big. And it's just a great affordability. It's about half, price per square foot, about half of Scottsdale.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but if you're saying $200 a foot in Peoria, you're at $400 or $500 a foot in Scottsdale for comparable square footage.
Okay.
So that's pretty huge. And both of them are just seeing kind of explosive growth in various sectors. And then Phoenix, which encompasses Arcadia, the Biltmore, all kinds of pockets, Desert Ridge, Central. It always holds value pretty well as well.
Oh yeah, great areas. I love those areas.
Yeah. So it's strong. I'm bullish on our market. I still think we're doing just fine. I think the headlines are a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't know the details. And some guys I listen to, like Barry Habib is a market expert that I follow. He's always railing on the media because there's a particular couple people on some shows that are always negative. Even when prices going up 20%, they're negative. Oh, real estate's, don't buy now. It's a terrible time to buy, all this stuff. Right. Well, I mean, if we'd have listened to their advice, we'd be, a lot of people would be broke, their net worth would be a lot less.
It would. I mean, it's real estate's like trees. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Next best time is today. So if you're doing that long-term buy and hold, I think the only regrets I ever have in real estate is anything we sold. I wish I could.
Absolutely. My regrets are the same, selling and not keeping the house.
100%.
The house I had in Kirkland, Washington, if I'd have kept that, I know it sold a couple of years ago for an enormous amount. And I told my wife, and I'm like, do you know what our old house just sold for?
Exactly.
And we thought we did pretty good on it when we sold it. But anyways, we could have doubled that at least if we'd have held on to it a little longer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We had a beach house in Seattle. I'm with you.
Yeah. So hang on to those properties, people.
Yes. Grow that net worth. It's a beautiful asset class. It has, tax advantages, as you know.
It's great tax advantages. And a lot of people don't know there's a tax advantage when they buy an investment property. On your Schedule E, there, I'm not a CPA, but you can deduct some things on your Schedule E that you wouldn't normally deduct if you didn't have an investment property. So
Yeah, we're doing a lot of portfolio consults lately, and we're talking about, we're not CPAs, obviously,
Yeah.
but we give them a list of questions. Hey, here's some questions maybe to ask your attorneys as you grow your portfolio. Ask about the Augusta rule, ask about, cost segregation. There's a lot of tactics that a lot of our higher net worth people, or people who are growing portfolios, really can use. And it's just so unique that way, because you can have tenants paying down your loan. You can, have the appreciation factor and rental appreciation as well. And then you have the tax advantage. So I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
and helping people understand that is what I like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. Well, and we really appreciate all the loan products that have come out last couple of years, especially last year, to help with the market shift.
Yeah. The buy downs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been great, and sellers are on board. We don't have, the crazy appreciation we've been seeing. And we don't have people doing 20% over asking just to get a house in the frantic frenzy insanity market.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that 2% buy down or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I hadn't done one in years until this year. So it shows you how long I've been in the business.
That's great.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah, lots of wisdom.
Rates were at 7.25 in 2001 when I started. So, when we went over that this last year in 2022, we went to 7.625.
Oh yeah. We were so excited in my early 20s, our first house, I think we were 8.5. And, I was just out of college. My husband was self-employed with a business. Like, it was 8.5 was awesome. We were super excited.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, okay. One more question for you.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for home buyers? If you're a home buyer in 2023 and you're going to buy a home or you're considering it, what advice do you have?
Meet with your lender. First and foremost, talk to your agent, talk to your lender. Really important to do that before you think you're ready. They're going to have some really great strategies. You guys have such incredible tools. You can, kind of say, okay, if you do pay your card to exactly this amount, if you have a credit card, you can really play with that credit score and give some beautiful insight. And typically that's months before you're ready to actually purchase. So, talk to your lender, talk with your agent. For us, we do a buyer consult, and then we even kind of say, hey, there's a lot of different ways to get the same effect. You don't have to do 20% down. Dan, I'm sure you can expand on that.
Yeah,
we have down payment assistance. We have seller credits. We have a lot of opportunity in this market. So we actually had a closing today, and I think they only brought in a couple $100 to close. So there's a lot of really cool ways to buy a house. Then you have a fixed mortgage payment. Rents have historically gone up in all recessions.
Yeah.
And every year, irrespective of market cycles.
Oh, rents are still going up. They've been going up crazy.
They went up 20, I think it's 27.8% last year, something like that. So they're not doing that now, but
right.
They're not as high. So we are starting to find that it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to buy a house, keep that fixed expense. So you can
absolutely. And I firmly believe rates are going to go down more this year. As we do this podcast, we're sitting in that 5.875 to 6 1/8 range on a 30-year fixed. If you're well-qualified buyer and it's a owner-occupied home, I think we'll see rates hit 5% this year. I don't know when, but if I could throw a dart on the dartboard and guess, May 10th is a big date for interest rates for a variety of reasons. But there's a key CPI report coming out that day. They come out every month, but that one I think will have more effect on rates than the next few. And so I think by the time we get to the end of May, June, we're going to be in the low 5s, maybe even as low as 5. So
I think it's I agree with you, and I'm hearing that on a lot of fronts. I think it's a unique opportunity to buy right now because you can get that buy down, because you're not competing with 30 other buyers.
Yeah.
Because you can still get a locked low rent, whether it's a permanent buy down or temporary.
Yep.
And sellers are willing to do it. And sellers haven't been willing to do it for a lot of years.
That's the key right there. You can negotiate with sellers on that. So
it's huge. Do you think that the buy downs are going to go away? What's your
I think when we get to that 5% range, not as many people will do it. But it'll still be for those people that maybe if they don't do it, there would be a little bit of a higher payment than maybe they were paying in rent. Because some people, let's face it, they're renting a 1 or 2 bedroom condo and they're paying some cheap rent. Now they're going to a house that's 3 to 4 bedrooms and their mortgage is going up. So some people that, people that are really, their income's really solid may not do it, but if it's tight on their, and they want to be able to have that elbow room because they know their income is going to go up in 2 or 3 years, then that's the type of loan that's good for them.
Well, and with either of those situations, like Scottsdale just hit the top 10 most expensive 1-bedroom rents in the country with New York and San Francisco.
Yeah, that's wild.
So, and if you do buy a house, you can house hack. You can have roommates come in and pay you rent. So there's always ways to make.
My son lives with one of his best friends and pays rent, and his friend owns the house in California. So,
right.
yeah,
I always, we have a guest house that would pay our mortgage if we rent it out. So,
that's awesome.
More than one ways to do things, and same with the down payment. If you're like, oh gosh, I don't have all of that, or I don't have the closing costs, we can have conversations around that, and we work really tight, as you know, Matt, Dan, with
yeah.
I almost called you your brother's name. Sorry.
Well, we are brothers, so
you guys are both great. But we work really closely with the lender to make sure that we can put together a package that makes sense for the buyer. So that's why we appreciate you guys. We can have those conversations. Say, what if we go this way? What if we do that? Cover the costs or cover some of the down payment.
That's part of the fun part. Doing a little out of the box stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's unique. We haven't had that in many, many years. So if you've been on the fence or considering buying, jump off the fence, because I think this is a unique time in our market. And I don't know that it's going to come back anytime too soon.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very good time. It's not a seller's market anymore like it used to be. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Jen, I thank you so much for being the guest on the show. It's been great having you. If somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
You bet. So we are here, the Nelson Group, Phoenix and Scottsdale. You can find us on YouTube, Nelson Group, Phoenix, Scottsdale, on Instagram, Facebook, all the things, or nelsongroupsw.com, nelsongroupsouthwest.com. Happy to help.
Is that your website, nelsongroupsouthwest.com?
Yeah.
Okay, nelsongroupsouthwest.com. Awesome, Jen. Well, it's been great talking to you today. Thank you for the insight and the expertise. We really appreciate it, and we'll have you back again sometime.
Thank you. It's been so great. I always appreciate working with you. So thank you for all you do for all of our clients.
You're welcome. Have a great day, Jen.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.